Welcome back. So I've made a little progress since the last time I shot a video out here working on this building. As you can see, I've got most of the siding up, not all of it. The trim around the doors will be painted white. I got the garage doors installed. I was gonna video me putting in those garage doors, but after reading those instructions, you know, this is a family-friendly YouTube channel, and me trying to decipher those instructions, those poorly written instructions, was not so family friendly. So I decided to just get them installed and show you after the fact. These are from AMAR Garage Door Company. I just found them online. Didn't really know anything about them, but it was easy to order it online. It took me about, they said 5 to 6 weeks, but it ended up taking 10 weeks for them to come in. So, but I finally got them in. As soon as I got them in, I went ahead and worked on getting them installed. And it wasn't that bad. The hard part was reading the instructions and trying to decipher what they were trying to say, because they put a bunch of different options in there and they just blended all the options in rather than keeping the options separate. So it made it really difficult to try to filter through and decide what I needed to do for my options. So this is a 8 by 16 door, and that's an 8 by 8 door. There's no openers on them yet. I'm gonna wait. Once I get the final inspection and get the power turned on, then I'll worry about putting openers in. But they're really easy to open, so it's really not a big deal. So currently I'm working on the siding. I've gotten most of the front and the two sides done. The gable's gonna be some shake siding, and I'm not sure exactly which shake I'm gonna use just yet. So I don't have it here. But so for this siding, this is LP Smart siding. Whoops. This is LP Smart siding, and I'll show you. Let me find a little piece of scrap. Here we go. So on the face, it looks just like cement board siding, Hardie or whatever. But then on the back of it, it's OSB. It's an OSB product, but it's coated in some sort of wax, and it's guaranteed for I think 50 years, something like that. But I've installed this before, and after installing cement board, I've done quite a bit of that, and that is hard to deal with. It's messy, and those 16-foot boards, one person really can't pick up a 16-foot board of cement board without it breaking. It's so brittle, it'll just snap right in two. This stuff is pretty lightweight. I can pick up, I can pick up a whole stack. They come in six pieces to a stack, but comfortably, easily, I can pick up 3 or 4 at a time and bring them around to where I need them. I normally just grab 3, bring it back to where I need it, and it's really lightweight, easy to put up. And, everything. Obviously, since it's an OSB product, it cuts like wood. You use all your typical wood cutting saws and stuff and nails. So I'm just using 1 3/4 siding nails to put it on. So I'll go over here and show you what I'm doing. So I got the first couple rows down. So I figured I'd bring you along while I'm doing it. I'll probably just time lapse it. I probably won't do a lot of talking when I'm trying to get it done. But I started out using 2 1/4 inch nails, and then when I started looking on the inside, luckily I didn't hit any wires, but it was really close. So I ended up going back and getting some more nails and just get some shorter 1 3/4 nails, and that way I don't have to worry about hitting any electrical wires or something on the inside. Those are going through, and it's keep leaving plenty of space between the end of the nail and the wires, so it's a lot better. I really thought 2 1/4 would be what I needed, but it was just too much. So what I've done here, in order for me to get started, what I did is I took my laser level and I just made a reference point all the way around the building. I started out on the front, and I did the front and the 2 sides with one laser level reference point. And then I had to come back around the back and move it and create another line. And if you can see these little crow's feet here, all down. There's another one. And they go all the way down. It's a lot easier than trying to snap a line over a 50 foot, because then it would sag, or I could snap it at 25 foot and then go down to do the other side. But this is so much easier. So I just put a level laser line back here and created a reference point. And I want to make sure that my corners match up. So far, so good. Honestly, I kind of messed up on the opposite corner on the other end. Wasn't paying attention, and those are a little bit off, but I'm not changing it. But all the other corners so far are doing pretty well. So these are pretty well lined up. So I'm making sure those are lined up, and then out in the field, I had taken using the reference line and just taking the measurements to get the first 2 rows in line. And then after that, I have a story pole, and I'll show you my story pole. So here's this story pole I made. It's just got lines all the way up for a 6 7/8 inch reveal. That's what I'm going for. So each of these should be at least close to 6 7/8 showing by the time, and that'll give me about an inch of overlap. So now what I'll do, I'll line these lines up with my story, or the lines on my story pole. I'll line them up at the top of the bottom row, and then I'll make lines all the way up the wall here, and I'll just mark the wall, and that'll be the top of my next row, and it should line up with the other row on the other wall. So, you know, in the field, I will go by my marks, but on the edges, if I have to tweak it just a little bit, just to make it right with the corners, and that's what I'll do. So now what I'm doing, since I'm doing this all by myself, I'm using these Gecko siding gauges. So there's one, and it just, so what you do is you just clamp it on, or you slide this little groove, or slide that little doohickey underneath your siding, and you can set that to the right height of your siding, but I don't trust it that much. All I do is use it to hold the weight. So I get up there and I get it set, and you just flip this lever, and then that holds it tight. But what I've learned is if you pull it too tight, it will pull this back against the wall, and the sliding will slide down behind it. So I try to keep a nice, find a happy medium for it, so this will stay against the wall, because sometimes the siding will slide down behind that, and that just makes it more difficult. So I use these, I just spread them out about every 12, 15 feet, somewhere around there, and that'll help hold one end while I can mark and nail the other end. You know, this stuff's pretty straight. There's very little sag in it, so if I can get the 2 ends right, then the center is usually really close. I have a little gauge that I'll use just to make sure I'm on right, but so that's where we are now. So for now, I'm going to try to work on this wall and see how far we get. So here's the nails I'm using. These are 1 3/4 hot dip galvanized cool nails. Go in my Bostitch siding nailer. So these work really well. Now I forgot to mention, I did put flashing down at the bottom, and I ripped down a piece of siding about 1 inch wide to put down at the bottom, right on top of the flashing, in order to allow for the bottom of the siding to have a little kick out. So there's 1 1/4 inch, or there's a 1 inch strip nailed on the bottom of it on top of the siding, and then the siding nails on top of that, and it lays over it, and that kicks the siding out. So I forgot to mention that, but I did do that. Here we go, there it is. So I'm using this gauge. This is cut at 6 7/8, and so that will represent my reveal. I can put it underneath here, hold it flush to the siding, and then that'll mark the bottom of my next row. So that's what I'm doing down here. So I've kind of gotten into a rhythm without using the story pole that I just explained. The story pole worked great on the side over here and over on the front, but I've also found that this works just as well. This is just a block gauge that I've cut, and so what I do is I've made sure the corners are correct, matching the opposite corners, and I'll do the same thing on the other corner on the other end. But in the field, I just use the gauge, and that sets my height, and that's been working out really well. So that's been a whole lot easier than taking a story pole and going out and making marks all the way up the walls, all the way down. This is just a whole lot handier. So I've been just doing it that way. So I'll just move this up to the bottom of the bottom row. When I get this level, I'll nail it. And you'll see, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've got squiggly lines marked up here with words wire written there. That's where the breaker box is, so I don't want to put any nails, you know, anywhere from here to here. So I just went ahead and marked that, and that'll keep me from nailing the siding in here and accidentally running a nail through the back of the breaker box. On the ends, I've just cut some flashing, just pre-cut it, you know, to similar or sizes like this, similar to this. So, I mean, I didn't measure or anything. I just sort of winged it. Some mud out here. It's so muddy back here. Every time I set something down, it drags mud with it. Look at that. Ah, messy. But anyway, so on the ends, now, the first time I installed this LP Smart siding, I used the Expert Finish, and that's with that's the siding with the color already baked on. This, excuse me, some mud. This is just a prime finish, so it'll have to be painted. And the Expert Finish came with butt lap joints where they overlap each other on the ends here. For whatever reason, I guess the prime finish doesn't come that way. So I don't know, maybe I bought a cheaper version of the Smart Side or whatever, but I don't know why it didn't come with the butt joints, the overlapping butt joints. So anyway, I'm having to do this like traditional siding, like you would cement board or anything else, cedar or whatever. So I'm just putting flashing in here. This is just a felt paper that I've cut And I'm putting flashing in here. Go ahead and make sure I'm right on the ends. Yeah. And then just nail that in place. And then the next piece will butt up to it, but it won't butt up tight. I'll leave anywhere from 1/8 to 3/16. I'm not using a gauge. You can buy gauges from SmartSide, or you can just make a gauge to put in there and butt up against the gauge. I'm not doing that. I'm just eyeballing it, just putting 1/8, 3/16 in there, and that gives it room to expand and contract, because this is a wood product, so it's going to move some. So you need to put a gap in here. I'm not flashing this. It does have this membrane, the water membrane, the Tyvek, that runs in behind there. So if water does get behind it, it'll just run all the way out the bottom. But I'm not flashing this. The ends will be caulked, but you don't want to caulk the butt joints. LP says don't do it. I believe. I'm pretty sure they say don't do it. But you can caulk the butt joints if you want to, but the caulk's going to fail and then it's going to look messy. So best thing to do is, in my opinion, is to just flash it. And I'm using the felt because it's black, and so you won't see any white paper behind there. You could use vinyl, you could use about anything else. You wouldn't want to use galvanized metal or anything, but you could use PVC flashing that you can cut and put in there, and that would work really good too. But I had felt, and I'm not buying anything else, so I just used the felt for the flashing. Now I've kind of got a little rhythm going, so I'll just time lapse it, and you can see this on through if you want. This is the row I've been waiting on. Last one. It's only going to take one more row, because then the soffit J-channel will meet and it will nail to the siding. I like to put the siding on first, nail the J-channel or F-channel. I think I'll probably use F-channel on the wall, but I like to nail it to the siding. That way I don't have to, for instance, if I had the J-channel or F-channel here, I'd have to butt my siding up to the bottom of it, and then that would just have to be a a nice rip cut. And it's just easier to put the siding on first and nail the trim on to the top of it. So just make it a lot easier. So this last row is going to be a little challenging because it's out of reach and all my ladders are on the job. So I'm just going to be trying to get by with a step ladder. So we'll see how this goes. Latched. That's part of the problem. Forgot to latch it closed. There, maybe that'll work. It's the struggles of working by yourself. Good. tough to drag that across because when you're dragging across those gauges, they want to fall over. So you got to be really careful. That's why I'm taking my time with it. They keep falling, and that's just more work. So close. There we go. So that's that for the lap siding. If you notice this belly band up there, that band, whatever you call it, I nailed it too low. I'm gonna have to raise it back up. I'm gonna have to take it down and raise it up just a little bit higher because I just don't like it where it is. I'm not sure what happened there, but I nailed it too low, so I'm gonna fix it. But these corners line up pretty well. I'm pretty happy about that. This is the visible side, because you know you come in from there. So this side in the front is what you'll see. So I wanted to get these corners to line up, this side and this corner over here in particular. I wanted all of them to line up, but specifically, I wanted these to line up. So these line up pretty well, so I'm pretty happy about that. So the next thing I have to do is the gables, and I'm gonna do shake siding. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do vinyl shake like what's up there, or they make a hardy shake or LP shake. I don't really like it the way it looks, so I think I might just put the vinyl above it. I don't know. I don't think it'll look bad by the time it's all painted and everything. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. But we'll see. So I'm gonna put the gables on, then I gotta do the soffit and fascia. Of course, get some gutters out here. But so for that, I'll just nail some F-channel along the wall up here, level with the bottom of the fascia. Nail some F-channel up, put my vinyl soffit in, then put the aluminum fascia on. I'll bend that myself when it's time. And then that'll be that. I really want to wrap this exterior up so I can call for the final inspection. Of course, I need to finish this stone. I'm not sure if that has to be done for the final or not, but I probably will go ahead and finish it for the before the final comes out. I need to fill a couple more pieces in, like some missing spots down there you see. So I got to do that, and then I got to fill in the joints. So between the stone, the soffit fascia, and the gables, that will wrap this thing up. And of course I have to caulk it before the final too, so but I'll get that done. All right, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.